What is going on, people? Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can master the ego with these 5 keys that have completely transformed my life. You see, when it comes to manifesting the life that you desire, you have to understand something here. Your greatest limitation will be your own mind. But before I dive deep into this, and as we always do in every single episode, I want you to take a deep breath in with me right now and a deep breath out. So key number 1, you are not your thoughts. There's this great book that I read called The Power of Now. And I'm actually doing a giveaway. So make sure you stick around to know what you have to do. I'll be announcing the steps in my podcast channel. So make sure you're following me there. Now, you are not your thoughts. This is something that I've had to learn the hard way. Understanding that it took me a long time to even grasp what this meant. Because when you're listening to this, the first thing you're going to be thinking to yourself is, wait, what? What does that even mean? You see, the craziest thing is when you get deeper and deeper into your healing journey, you understand one thing, that your greatest limitation is the beliefs that you hold about what you can and what you can't do. As you start going towards the life that you dream of, you only get to it to realize one thing, that your greatest limitations was the belief that you thought you couldn't do it. You see, as I created this whole reality for myself where I'm, this is my full-time job now. Yeah, I was literally working a day job and creating videos like this. But as I started making this my full-time job, once I started making money through it, and once I got into the relationship that I dreamt of, right? Only once I got there did I realize, wow, it was the belief that I thought it was impossible. But as long as you implement the steps, 1 + 1 will always equals 2. I always say this to all my students because it's like, you don't need to believe in what it is that the changes that you are trying to make into your life. You simply need to take the steps that you would take if you were guaranteed the outcome. You see, this is how you manifest. You take the steps as if you are guaranteed the outcome. Now, regardless of what the outcome really is, the person you become is the real treasure. You see, the mind is a construct of everything we have experienced throughout our lives. So when you get to a stage where you're trying to create a reality that you haven't experienced before, your greatest limitation will be your own thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. So it's like you truly have to understand that the changes that, when you're taking action, the real changes that you're going to treasure are going to be internal. It's not even the outcome that's going to matter at the end. It's because once you get to one outcome, there's always going to be another, right? So let's continue. Key number 2, the strengths and weaknesses you see in others, you also possess. The quickest way to understand your own mind is to see it as there's something called the reticular activation system, so RAS, and where you only see the very things that are familiar to you. Most of the times we see strengths and weaknesses in other people and we think they are separate to us. But the truth is you only see what you are. It's like driving a car, right? Red car or a yellow car. When you start driving a specific colored car that you don't see often, once you start driving that car, you see it everywhere. You see, it's very much like your brain starts to see the very things that you also carry. Like what you are familiar with, you will see more of. So for example, if you are used to poverty, you most likely will relate and connect to poverty. If you are used to heartbreak, you will most likely seek for heartbreaks. So it's like you have to understand the mind continuously seeks for what it is that it's used to. So when I say the strengths and weaknesses that you see in others, you also possess, understand something here. This is a great way for you to learn about yourself. Because when it comes to our childhood traumas, most of the time, we don't see what it is that is wrong with us. We end up judging other people for their strengths and weaknesses. Whether we call it positive or negative doesn't really matter. But what we see in others is usually within ourselves. Now, this is a great way of you basically taking a look at the mirror. It's life's a free way for you to learn more about yourself. Why? The more you uncover what your strengths and weaknesses are, you will naturally possess the strengths and you will be aware of the weaknesses and you will be able to create the life that you dream of. Now, is it going to be as easy as that? No, it's a journey. One of the great tools that I've learned along my way is literally looking around you, your family members, your friends, your partner, and asking yourself, what is it that I love and hate about them? Why do I feel this way? How can I reach a stage where I can accept them for who they are and who they are not? When we try to change the people around us, what we are really craving for is change within us. Now, when you're first listening to this, you can get easily defensive about it because you can think to yourself, I am not lazy. My family members are lazy. I'm not like them. You see, you might be someone who's mentally motivated to go after what you want, but let me ask you a question. Do you struggle to go after what you want? Do you end up being lazy just as much as the people that you judge? That's definitely going to be a yes. And I'm telling you from my own experience. So if you wish to understand and heal and integrate with your motivational part of you, you must make peace with the laziness that you carry within you. Why is this a challenge and a problem? Is because we end up resenting our own laziness. We end up resenting the parts of us that we see in others that represent laziness. So you unconsciously keep manifesting that behavior over and over again in your life. So your job is to make peace with the laziness, understand it, have compassion towards it. The easiest way to do it is try to do it on the people around you, and you will automatically see that the parts of you that you can accept in others, you also start accepting within yourself. Does that mean you become lazy? No. Motivation and laziness, they both exist on the same spectrum. Now, whether you are motivated or lazy, it doesn't really matter. You're still, the energy is on the same spectrum. So therefore, it doesn't take much for you to go from laziness to motivated. What happens is when you have so much energy that is towards one aspect of it, like laziness or motivated, you end up gravitating towards it even more. Whereas when you make peace with both sides of it and you understand that motivation does not come without being lazy also, like light and dark, you find the balance, the Wu way, meaning the balance. Now, this is deep, but it takes time to understand. So if you have any questions and you're thinking, wait, Minaz, I didn't get that, but drop a comment down below. I would love to make another episode specifically just on this. Now, if you struggle to understand what I'm saying here, this is something that I specifically teach my students when I work with them one-on-ones or in my group called in Quantum Leap. Now, Quantum Leap is basically a 6-week program where I help people uncover their authentic self through a step-by-step process that's taken me almost 2 years to create, going from trial and error with a bunch of students. So if you're someone that is interested, I have a massive announcement and I want you to wait till the end of the episode for me to let you know about that. Now, key number 3, you are either a slave to your mind or a master of it. You have to understand something. We live in a society where they are spending millions to condition your brain. They want to own you. As long as you are a perfect consumer, you are a slave to your own mind. You think you're free in this reality, but you're actually running on systems and programs that were given to you by generational trauma, generational beliefs that were indoctrinated into the population through a higher power. Now, most of the time we associate the higher power with God, but the truth is the reality that we live in isn't exactly influenced by the energy of God or the words of God. It is actually influenced by men, right? To create control and a system that serves them. And as long as you are a perfect consumer, you will always be a slave to the system. This is one of the specific reasons why I built my own business, and I never liked working for someone else. I couldn't stand it. Like, I didn't like the idea of living this rat race lifestyle. Like, that ain't it for me. I want to live life on my terms, serving people the way I'm helping you guys and making that my full-time job. So basically, what comes authentic from my heart, I'm embodying that fully so I can live a life on my terms and as a free being rather than someone who's enslaved and trapped with the mind. Now, when people learn about this, they understand one thing. I want to quickly reassure everyone listening to this. You might have desires to, have your own home, buy your own car, have your own business, make a lot of money. I used to be that person that used to judge myself for having those desires, but the truth is most of us who are in a state of poverty, we will naturally be driven towards those things because that's something that we wish to acquire. Now, most people think no, but you can overcome this by spiritually bypassing it, meaning you can convince yourself that these things are not needed, they're not important in life. But the truth is you can never get rid of the desire. The only way to transmute the desire, to raise the level of consciousness around the desire, is you must first go for it. It's like that person who never been in a relationship and they value their whole happiness and life on a relationship. Most of the time they can convince themselves that they are not conscious. So what do? They tell themselves, I don't need to be in a relationship. I need to be okay being alone. The only way they will truly understand what it's like to find that peace without a partner is they must go seek for it first. So that's something I learned the hard way, because it's like many of us think when we learn from other people that we can bypass some of our desires. That is not true. Now, obviously, there can be discipline that's required around certain desires because, religiously, some of them might be incorrect for you to go after. However, I truly believe, Allah, God, will show you the way. So regardless of whether you're making a mistake going after what you want or not, you will find your way. You just simply need to go after what you want and have that in mind. The fact that this might not be exactly what I want. Am I being unconscious? Am I being conscious? Go after financial freedom. Go after the relationships that you want, but do it the right way that serves your heart the best, right? The most, right? So understand that, there's ideas and ways of life that are being forced onto you. But the only way that worked truly for me is God's way, which is challenging because we live in a society where, it's the opposite. It's literally like you can say the devil's way. Basically, everything is set up in a way where it's like, no, freedom of everything is important to the point where people no longer have a gender. Like people are trees. Like one day they're going to be associated as a tree, like identified as a tree. So we can go deeper and deeper into this. Basically, the conclusion of key number three is you are a slave. You don't want to be a slave to your mind. You want to be a master of it. The mind is a great tool when you are using it to go after what you want. It is one of the greatest tools human beings have. Unfortunately, many people have understood how disconnected people are from their own hearts. So what they do, as long as they control the mind, they can control the person. So basically, they have a slave without shackles. That is the reality we unfortunately live in. So key number 4. The ego has one purpose: to keep you safe and comfortable, even if comfortable means misery. Understand something: your mind will do whatever it can to keep you where you are, even if where you are isn't where you wish to be. This is probably the greatest realization you can have. Most people, before they take any action towards their dreams or their goals or what they really want for themselves, they tell themselves, let me think about this. I need to sit down and think about this. This is one of the greatest self-sabotage methods we truly have, because your mind will convince you that you are not ready. You will never be ready. Understand something: people take to action in 2 different ways. 1, they either be brave and take that step even when they don't feel ready, or 2, they get sick and tired of waiting. Most people have to do number 2 because why? It's just how we are as human beings. Whereas if you can truly embody the characteristics of number 1, where you start taking action before you feel ready to do so, you will be able to acquire and create the life that you dream of much quickly. Now, let's move on. I think that was as easy as it gets, to be honest. And key number 5, the ego is not your enemy. This is something I really need you to understand. Yeah, the mind can be brainwashed and controlled. Yeah, your desires might be lower level of consciousness in terms of materials and relationships that might not even be right for you, in terms of your religious beliefs. So it's like, understand something here. The mind has been programmed of years and years and years of rubbish, basically. You need to start taking out that rubbish step by step. You need to start becoming consciously aware of what it is that you do want, what you don't want, and go after what you do want. And then be conscious, though, as you go towards it, that desire might change. You might be given new information to help you along the way, just like this video. Now, it's more like, the mind is more like a wounded child that needs a parent. That's probably the best way to look at it. Is the mind is like your inner child. If you are into shadow work and spirituality, you understand the concept of inner child healing. This is something where when you heal your traumas, you start healing the energy that you carry and store within the body. It's something we specifically do in my program Quantum Leap. So if you are struggling to do this on your own, make sure you reach out. I'm currently looking for 10 people. This is the announcement that I was going to make at the end of the episode, so I'll give you more info on that, but let's finish this off. The mind is like a wounded child that needs a parent, which is you, the person that is listening. If you're listening to this right now, you're feeling my words, the awareness within the body right now. Now, you can easily start thinking, what is Minaz saying? You can pause the video and you can think to yourself, what did Minaz mean by that? You see, the mind would never truly be able to grasp how it works, because it's like the computer trying to figure out how the computer works, right? It cannot, override its own system. Basically, there has to be a controller, there has to be a person, an administrator that administrates what the hard drive needs to do. However, most people start relying on the mind for advice and guidance, and this is where the mind and heart is disconnected, because your heart can lead and take you places where your mind can't even fathom in terms of faith and belief. There's two major differences when it comes to the two. The mind will never be able to have faith in the process. The heart can. This is where our heart, when we're praying to Allah, when we're praying to God, what we do is we pray from our hearts. We don't pray from the mind. The mind is like a hard drive, just constantly running programs one after another. You need to start becoming the awareness behind it. Now, why is the mind like a wounded child that needs a parent? It's because when you go after the life that you desire, right, the life that you feels right for you in your heart, that feels like your purpose, your calling, when you go after that very desire, that purpose, that calling, you will understand something. The mind will panic. And if you start becoming, self-aware, and you start observing your own mind, you'll notice something here. It's almost behaving like a child. Like the behavior patterns, the thought patterns, the fears, the anxiety, the energy that arises. And this is where you start, when you go deeper and deeper into shadow work, you understand that the mind is simply a reflection of the emotions that you carry within the body. Let me say that again. The mind starts projecting and reflecting the emotions that you carry within the body. So anytime you experience any form of trauma, pain, shame, or guilt, the mind starts, storing energy around those memories to keep you safe, keep you away from those traumas, those memories ever reoccurring again. So in some ways, it's just a safety mechanism. It's a safety tool. It's a survival mechanism. So anything it associates with danger, it keeps you away from it. So when you actually start actively go towards danger, now the problem is, yes, danger is one thing, but safety is another. Your mind associates anything that causes you to feel a certain way as a form of danger. So it could even be money or relationships or love. If you noticed a toxic relationship as a child, you most likely will associate relationships as a toxic reality. So now that you're trying to get into a relationship, you will find yourself feeling like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This feels scary for me. When you go after the relationship, you'll notice how you almost start behaving like a child and sabotaging everything. This is why awareness is key when it comes to manifesting what you want in your life. This is why I'm telling you the 5 keys that will change your life. So before we conclude this episode, I want to quickly tell you what my announcement is. I'm looking for 10 students, and I'm going to be giving you 50% off of Quantum Leap. Yes, over 50%. You're going to have to talk to me to find out more information about this. There'll be a link down below this video where you can press the link and book a call with me to find out more information. Now, I'm going to be giving 50% off for the next 10 students that join my program. Now, I've changed multiple lives. There'll be testimonials down below that you can go and check it out. I have a new one coming out for you guys soon, so you can watch that too if you're struggling to make a decision right now. And yeah, this program will completely transform your life. So everything I've covered here, we go through it in a whole different way in the program, and you will have access to modules step by step that we're going to be talking on every week. You're going to be jumping on a call with me so you can truly understand how you can manifest the life that you dream of consciously, not from a place of a wounded energy, but from a conscious place. So if that's you, make sure you click the link in my bio and book a call with me, and I'll be more than happy to see if you are fit for Quantum Leap. Now, let's quickly conclude this episode. Key number 1 is you are not your thoughts. The mind is a construct of everything you've ever experienced throughout your life. Therefore, you must start becoming the awareness behind it rather than identifying with every thought that ever comes up. You have to start becoming aware of it as if it's a child literally within you, which it is. So key number 2, the strengths and weaknesses you see in others, you also possess. The world is like a mirror. So whatever you see outside of yourself, you most likely are carrying within yourself. So when you judge and hate and love others, and because of what they represent, is usually because the way you love, judge, and hate yourself. So if you wish to find peace within yourself, from laziness to motivation, if you wish to find the harmony between the two and be able to consciously choose what you're going to embody, you have to start changing the way you see other people, because the way you judge others is how you judge yourself. Key number 3. You are either a slave to your mind or a master of it. You understand that our society, music, media, movies, everything is conditioned, created, programmed, written, scripted in a way to control the way you believe your world to be. That's madness. That's why I only follow Allah's words, man. You can only rely on God's words, not a man's word. So even though everything I'm saying, what feels right for you, keep that. What doesn't, throw it away. Find your own way, but also let God guide you. Alhamdulillah, which means all praise to Allah. Key number 4. The ego has a purpose: to keep you safe, even if safety means misery. Understand that your mind will do whatever it can to keep you where you are. Therefore, most of you guys who want to take action, but you constantly catch yourself saying, let me think about it though, that is when you're basically saying, I'm not going to do it. Because your mind will sabotage in a beautiful way. People only take actions in 2 situations. One, they are either not going to wait, they're just going to take that leap of faith before they're ready. Or 2, they're sick and tired of waiting. Most people are number 2, but you want to associate yourself, embody the characteristics of number 1 if you wish to manifest the life that you dream of. Key number 5, the ego is not your enemy. It's more like a wounded child that needs a parent, you. So in other words, you must start becoming aware of the mind, especially when you're going after the life that you dream of. In a moment where anxiety arises, start observing your own mind. Watch how your own mind starts reacting as if it's a child, which it technically is, because the way the mind speaks is what it uses the past as a reference for the future. Therefore, it's almost like your mind is stuck from all the years you've ever experienced throughout your life, constantly using the past as a reference for what may come. So how does this affect you in today's world? Yes, not only is it keeping you safe from danger and life-threatening situations, but it also starts protecting you from the things you do want, like love, relationships, money, and freedom, inner peace. It's like it starts associating those things with the traumatic memories that you may carry. So if you witness mom and dad fight all the time, right now you might be struggling to get into a relationship because you end up sabotaging things like a child. Boom. I need you to understand, when you become aware of your own mind, you become the master of your own mind. There is a constant back and forth that you go through life. As you go through new challenges, you will see yourself going back and forth of, reacting, responding, but you want to get to a stage where you're constantly responding to life rather than reacting to it. I hope this inspired you. Again, if you do want to work with me on Quantum Leap, I'm taking 10 people on. There'll be a link down below. Press it and book a call with me, and I'll see if you are fit for the program. Remember, I'm offering 50% off for the next 10 students, and after 10 students, we're closing the doors for now. I want to create some success stories, and if you want to be one of those people, make sure you click that link down below, and I'll see you guys soon, inshallah, if God wills. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, take a screenshot and share it with on your Instagram story. I would love to see who you are and how you connected. You can drop a comment down below letting me know how and why. And give this video a thumbs up if you feel like this has helped you. Share it with someone that you feel like it will help. And I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you soon. Peace and love, and salam alaikum.